So on a lighter note, thousands of fans fell in love with The Mandalorian when it first released its first season last November.
After a long year of waiting, Disney Plus has finally released its second season, just in time for all of us to binge watch after midterms.
So let's take a look at Ryan's review of the latest season.
Hey, one of last season's biggest hits, The Mandalorian, is back for its second season, premiering weekly on Fridays on Disney Plus. The show, set after the end of the original Star Wars trilogy, was one of my favorite binges last year, but what new directions is the second season taking, and can they keep up the momentum from the first season? Well, let's find out. The premiere episode of Season 2, titled Chapter 9, The Marshal, was directed by Jon Favreau. Favreau is the creator of the series and is perhaps best known for directing Iron Man and the Jungle Book and Lion King remakes. This is also the first episode of the series he himself has directed, with episodes normally being directed by Clone Wars producer-director Dave Filoni, or guest directors like Bryce Dallas Howard or Taika Waititi. The premiere starred Pedro Pascal back as the titular Mandalorian and guest starred Timothy Olyphant as a marshal of desert town Mos Pelgo, who protects the town thanks to his Mandalorian armor with mysterious origins. In order to reacquire the armor, which he argues belongs to his people, Mando agrees to help the marshal kill a giant crate dragon that has been terrorizing the town. But in doing so, the pair have to make some unlikely allies. This episode is notable for being the longest thus far in the series, clocking in at 52 minutes, where most episodes last season ranged from 30 to 45 minutes. The story definitely didn't feel long though, and I think the longer runtime definitely helped flesh out the story. I do think parts lagged a little bit, but ultimately I thought the pacing was great and I would definitely be down for more longer episodes. I thought as a whole, this episode did a lot of things really right. I mean, the technical work is astounding as always. While the series as a whole owes a lot to the Western genre, you can really feel the influence of the genre specifically in this episode, particularly in the cinematography. The sound mixing and the editing really helped boost up some of the more tense or action-packed scenes. I was also really impressed by the visual effects, especially the effects work on the Krayt Dragon itself. I mean, the effects in the show are normally good, but it is still TV, and sometimes they do look a little plastic. But the Krayt Dragon here and the final encounter with it all looked like cinematic level effects work, which was great to see. Pedro Pascal continues to do great work as the Mandalorian, giving a great sense of character despite being completely covered in armor. I also really liked Timothy Olyphant here and thought he was a great guest star. And I do wish they used the child, aka Baby Yoda, more in this episode, but I understand that they don't want to rely simply on Baby Yoda's charms. Baby Yoda's really, really cute. I think there's a lot of great stuff happening here in the premiere, and there are a lot of great ways they can take the story over the rest of the season. They teased Boba Fett in the series, whose armor was used by the Marshal and is now in possession of the Mandalorian, and it'll be so interesting to see if and how they use him in the future. I'm also curious about the status of Moff Gideon, played by the wonderful Giancarlo Esposito, who is the villain at the end of the first season and is still very much alive and probably very angry following last year's finale. The season as a whole is supposedly about Mando returning the child, aka Baby Yoda, to the Jedi, and so I'm curious how heavily they're going to use the Jedi in the series and which Jedi we'll see. Ahsoka from Clone Wars is supposedly in the season, and I'm really excited to see her. But for now, we just have to wait week by week for new episodes. The Marshal wasn't the best episode of the series. I still prefer some of the Season 1 outings, especially the Season 1 finale. However, it was still a wonderful episode, and I hope as the season ramps up, it only continues to get better and better. The Mandalorian was one of my favorite shows last year, and if The Marshal is any indication, we're in for another great season. Thanks for watching, may the Force be with you, and back to the hosts.